911, what's your emergency?
Gimme that. Ma'am, this is firefighter Eddie Diaz. There's a bomb strapped to your car, and it's going to go off if you don't do exactly as I say.
Eddie, I swear to God.
Okay.
I thought that one was pretty good. I was really feeling that, and it actually dropped me into the mindset of one Josh Russo in this episode. Welcome back to the First Respodcast, everybody. Welcome back. How are we doing? Did we pay our taxes?
Honestly,
if you didn't,
I haven't. I need to do it.
Don't tell us.
God. I am doing okay. I've had a cold for 2 straight weeks. I know it's just a cold.
What's going on with your body, dude?
And
what is going on?
I tested negative for everything. So it's just a really long cold. So I'm still coughing. I'm still sniffling. And I worked all day and then went straight into watching this episode to prepare to record this. And this episode, it's not the worst episode ever, but there's something about this episode where there's just a lot of things to infuriate me and stress me out and give me the ick about this episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this episode, here's the thing about this episode. A lot happens in it. And so because a lot of stuff happens in it, that's discussable stuff that will be discussed, it actually, I felt that it went by pretty quickly to the point where the entire episode felt kind of like the first half of an episode, or the first act of an episode. Do you know what I mean by that?
It is kind of setting up a lot of things, I guess.
Yeah, and it is coming back from the hiatus that they had this season, so it makes sense that it would be mostly set up and stuff. But I definitely walked away from this one feeling like I hadn't watched a complete episode.
I didn't really feel that way, but I did just feel maybe this is a me problem. Maybe I went in with a bad attitude, which I did, because I was kind of already tired and stressed. But I was struggling with this one. There were a lot of moments that made me cringe. There were a lot of moments that were viscerally upsetting. I read a review of the episode on IMDb before I started that made me so mad I wanted to rip all my hair out. Here it is. This is a review by the user Sandoval P. Sandrap. I don't know what I assume they're referencing Vanderpump Rules, but I don't know what. Okay, whatever. 1 out of 10. Fire Kristen already. What was once an interesting show about first responders is now the setting for Kristen's Wattpad-like storytelling, where she's the most special girl and our main boy falls for every iteration of her. She's once again pushing OG characters aside to make room for her now 2 white woman self-inserts. You guys, in all my days of hearing bad arguments against Kristen Rydell, never have I heard someone try to make the argument, credit to the 911 fandom, never have I heard someone try to claim that what she was doing was writing white woman self-inserts to fall in love with Buck, that she had some sort of parasocial, fictional ex-reader relationship with. And seeing this made me so angry that I just wanted to turn off the computer, find this person's house, shoot them in the head, and just never even think about the show again.
This is what a job at
for legal
the
reasons, that
organic
was not a
grocery
threat.
store's
I don't
deli
actually know who this
can
person
do
is
for
or
you.
where they live.
I have so many things to say about that. Number one, obvious misogyny detectors. Wee oo, wee oo, wee oo. Do you notice how Tim Minear never gets the self-insert
when
allegation?
He's arguably much more likely to have self-inserts on the show.
Yeah. It's not a thing that male writers ever get accused of doing, even when they have obvious self-inserts. I'm not saying that this show is an example. I don't think there are self-inserts in this show, which makes this confusing. I think all of the characters are pretty well-rounded, generally speaking. That being said, it's saying that Kristen was writing a Mary Sue character in Lucy or something like that. It's bizarre.
And
it's bizarre.
I'm going to say I don't really like Lucy at all. And you know, I find her pretty cringe in this episode. But here's the other thing. This episode was written by Bob Goodman. This episode was written by a man. It was not written by Kristen Rydell. And I kind of concluded upon watching it that I think maybe part of the reason I don't like Lucy very much is, at least in this episode, she's very much giving like men writing women, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
no, I
even
definitely
further
agree with
removed
that.
from this accusation of self-inserting. And I just found this so preposterous. And the idea that this could be like a living, breathing adult person just out there in the world, perhaps someone I've crossed paths with, someone that I'm expected to share air with, I was extremely distressed by it.
Well, season 5, episode 11 is the first episode to include the characters of Jonah and Lucy.
You know what else? So I work today, and you guys, I work at an organic grocery store, and it's usually not that bad. Like the customers there are nice. I have a lot of regulars that are so nice, a lot of old people who are so nice. Today, I'm taking the temperatures of all the hot bar and salad bar food. It's like every few hours we have to do temps, make sure nothing's like too cold or too hot. And this lady's getting stuff at the hot bar. She stops looking at the ingredients list. She kind of balks and she's like, "Why do you guys use canola oil in the hot bar food?" And I'm like, girl, I was just like, oh, you know, it's all made at our central kitchen. It's not really up to me. I'm not sure. And she goes, "Because, you know, it comes from like the rapeseed plant," which, yes, I know it's a bad name for a plant, but whatever. She's like, "It comes from the rapeseed plant, which is the same thing they use in mustard gas." And I was like, girl,
what?
I guarantee you canola oil is not doing whatever mustard gas does. I didn't say this. I'm just like, oh, is it? That's kind of what I said to her. And then,
why are you using a knife to cut up that ham? Like,
don't
you know that knives are used in like assault with a deadly weapon?
No,
like they're the deadly weapon.
This and somebody replied to me, which my coworker made a similar joke. It's like, "You're drinking water right now? Did you know that has a hydrogen in it? Like a hydrogen bomb?" So then she's like, "Yeah, that's why it's banned in Canada and Europe." Which, for the record, not true. Like, I was pretty sure it wasn't true. Like, I used to live in England, and like I bought canola oil. And also, the one thing I remember from the Maintenance Phase podcast episode about seed oil, like debunking seed oil myths, is that canola oil is called canola oil in North America because it was developed in Canada, and canola is actually a portmanteau of Canada and oil. And it was like a marketing thing so that they wouldn't have to call it rapeseed oil, because that's kind of an unfortunate name, which is what they call it in England. And the first time I saw it in the store, I was like, whoa. Yes, so I said that to her. I was like, oh, I thought it was like called canola because of Canada. And she was just kind of like, I don't know. And I was like, girl. And then she's like, I was just trying. I wanted her to leave me alone so bad. And then she's like, "Here, I can show you." And I was like, please don't. But she gets on her phone and she's like scrolling through her phone for like a really long time. And then finally, eventually she's like, "Well, there's a lot of debate about it." Which made me so sure that she like tried to look this up on her phone. And it probably immediately got told by like the first results in the AI overview that like, no, canola oil is perfectly safe. And yeah, I want to believe that perhaps that moment of my thinly veiled skepticism will send her down a path of actually Googling this and realizing that she has been fed nothing but misinformation. Because then like later on my break, I did look up like, is canola oil banned in Canada and Europe? Or like, has that ever been true? And immediately it's like, no. There's not even like a little grain of truth in that caused the it's just like a misinformation rumor.
Well, you know what we can say about this woman for a fact? She does her own research.
Literally, oh my God, admirable? I forgot. She said to me, "Do your own research." She said that to me verbatim.
Oh
she
my
said
God.
that to me verbatim. And girl, I did, and it said you were wrong. So
trying to outwoke the fucking the employee at the organic grocery store? I think the fuck not. I think not.
Like, I was just flabbergasted. That's the first time. I think I've had somebody like ask about seed oils before at the store, like maybe tell me like, oh, I does your oat milk have seed oils in it or whatever, but at least was nicer about it. This lady was like, it was so funny that she was clearly really down, like believed all this misinformation, but also clearly had probably just like misheard it once, like hadn't done any research on it. Like she didn't even know where the term canola oil came from. She didn't know any of the details about the mustard gas thing. Anyway, you guys, I wasn't in a great mood. And then watching this episode, I was just given the ick by a lot of things. So let's get into it.
Well, Jane, it might please with you to know that I am in a great mood, and I've been in a great mood because
I'm really
in the last
happy
10
for
days, I've been in like this like deep, like creative well, and I've written about I want to say about 45,000 words.
By deep creative well, you mean you've been on Adderall?
Yeah.
Shout out
45,000 words. I was just pumping them out like, oh yeah, do. So I'm coming down from that high because I didn't take any today because I'm not prescribed it, so I have a limited quantity. But
and you can stop anytime.
And I can stop anytime I want. But now I finally want to, and so I'm coming down from that, and I'm like in like a place of like sort of low energy zen. So I was just kind of like just cruising through this episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's cheating. Oh, that's the serial killer
one
guy.
Of us has to be in a good
Eddie,
mood.
girl failure.
I did like girl failure.
It's so
Eddie
good
in this
to be
episode.
home.
One last piece of housekeeping. Since we last spoke, I went to a Springsteen concert. So shout out to Buck and Bobby because I have officially done their activity. It was actually really awesome. It was really good.
Yeah.
And R.I.P. Bobby Nash. You would have loved the Land of Hope and Dreams tour. You really would have. I think you would have sobbed. And it's making me a little emotional to think about. Like, he probably loved The Rising. He probably listened to that album and cried himself to sleep.
You guys have to understand the spiritual quest Jane has been on these past few days. She has seen the Eye of Horus. She has seen the Magna Carta. She has sort of, touched base with the elder gods. And,
okay, I had one night where I was in a bit of an anxiety spiral and couldn't get to sleep, and I did start thinking about how sad it is that Bobby is gone. So you guys can have that one. I finally had my emotional moment about Bobby's death.
He should have been at the club.
He should have been at the club. He should have been at the Springsteen concert, you guys.
Aww.
Who's going to be our
our
spiritual leader now? And actually,
they were all born to run.
One amendment to that, I think actually Rob Lowe's character, Owen Strand, would have really loved The Rising since it was Bruce's post 9/11 album. And of course, and like had some explicit like odes to New York City first responders, and Owen Strand, of course, famously was a first responder at Ground Zero 9/11, and I think he would have really appreciated Bruce's gesture.
Well, if people want to hear us talk about Owen Strand more, they can subscribe to the Patreon and listen to us talk about the 911 Lone Star crossover episode with Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
I have to ask, did Bruce play Born to Run?
Oh, of course he did.
That's my favorite
one.
And,
it was a great, first Bruce Springsteen concert, I think, because, he did a lot of his old hits, but also with this kind of through line of, songs about America being in tough times, but banding together. So it was really cool. And I've been listening to The Rising a lot since going, and it was really cool. He did Purple Rain because we were in Minneapolis, and that was really special. And nobody knew he would do that. My dad did get in a minor altercation with the row in front of us, but we got over it.
That is some Midwest shit. What did he do?
There was a point when everybody in our section had sat down, but the people in front of us were still standing, and so my dad couldn't see, but he didn't want to stand up because the people behind us wouldn't be able to see. So he ended up telling the people in front of us to sit down, and then one of the guys in their party got mad at him for it. And then I don't think that's on my dad, but also then instead of choosing to de-escalate the situation, I feel like he kept being kind of aggressive.
Hey, shout out to your dad.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very concert dependent, because so when I went to the Mayhem Ball, that I was on my feet the entire time, as was everyone. Versus when I just saw Nine Inch Nails last month, everyone was sitting down and just sort of absorbing what they were seeing.
And you have to understand the Bruce concert, it's Boomertown, USA. And you know, a lot of people are sitting down. And also there are moments when everybody's standing up. But like I said, at this point, everybody else in the section had sat down. And so they were the only people doing that, which made it a little obnoxious.
Yeah. So they should have, you know, taken the hint. They should have read the room.
Or at the very least not been mad when someone asked them if they could sit down for that moment.
But, you know, shout out to your dad for having a spine.
I guess.
I'm sure he's non-toxic. As is this beautiful ballpoint pen that I am looking at on my desk. Now,
and
listen, this is season 5,
oil.
episode 11. This is season 5, episode 11, guys. So who was this written and directed by? I'm curious.
So it was directed by someone named Shauna Duggins, who, interestingly, the only things she's ever directed straight up are 2 episodes of 911. She did this one and I think like 1 in season 6, because primarily she's like a stunt woman and stunt coordinator. She did stunts for like one battle after another, like very, very prolific.
Oh, wow.
She's just one of those people who, like, if you see a thing, she probably was a stunt performer for it, or stunt coordinator. So that's a little interesting. But it was written by Bob Goodman, and I think we've liked Bob Goodman before. But yeah, this episode, I don't think it was all bad. It was more just, for better or worse, it had a lot of moments that I didn't love. And then, yeah, the writing of Lucy did give me the ick a little bit, man writing wise. But
well, there were, I guess it makes sense to hire Shauna for this because there were some like very, you know, stunt heavy scenes. But I also totally got the sense of like, especially in one particular scene that we'll discuss when we get to it. I could tell there was someone behind the camera who wasn't super comfortable working with actors who, let's just say, are not as skilled as their peers.
Wow.
So
did y'all catch the Ryan Guzman shade?
We open on a quinceanera. So the birthday girl has yet to make an appearance. Her parents are, you know, they're like, oh, where is she? And the dad's like, oh, she wants to make an entrance. Then the mom's like, oh, just like her father, always wanting to make an entrance. And it's sweet. It's cute. It's a quinceanera. It's a birthday party. That it looks very fun, very festive. I've only been to one
quince in my life, and it was my like toxic homoerotic bestie's cousin's quince right after said bestie had sort of gone along with the group that like broke up with me in high school, like ostracized me in high school. But she hadn't disinvited me from the quinceanera, right? So it ended up being really awkward. And I remember like trying to hug her at the end, and she like wouldn't. She like brushed me off. It was really bad, and it was traumatic. And so that's
Jane.
the only. So to add to the mood today, my only experience with a quinceanera was a tragic one. So think about that.
Well, I've never been to a quince, but the other day my friend Leo was showing me photos of his quince, and he had a very beautiful dress. He's trans, but
nice.
He had a very beautiful dress.
I was going to ask, do boys do quinceaneras? And then I was like, got it. My fault for being small-minded.
And I was like, that looks so fun. I've only seen them like on TV, like I said, like on like George Lopez or the Fosters. They had like big quince episodes.
Didn't
and I was like, that
Alex
looks
from Wizards of Waverly
lovely.
Place have a quince episode, or am I thinking of a different kids show?
If she did, I don't remember it. I remember there was one episode where she was really like jonesing for like the chocolate and was like, and like it was like Truth Time or something like that. That entire show, I haven't rewatched it since I was a very small child.
Yeah,
and so all of the
ever
episodes
rewatched
blur
it.
together. I have like images flashing in my mind of
Yes,
like
there was a
Harper's
quinceanera
pen
episode.
dress,
Okay.
or the giant pumpkin pie, or the dragon dog, or Justin, you know, getting all those snacks spilled on him and then ruining her dress because he's an asshole.
Episode,
or
season
Edgebano
1, episode 20.
Utusis.
So shout out
Season 1,
to
episode
Disney
20.
Channel for that Latino representation, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, it was a body switch episode. That's kind of fun.
Well, anyways, this quince girl is flying away. She rises like Christ.
Come on up further rising.
You raise me up. She rises in a chair that's propelled by some balloons.
And at first she's doing the up routine, and at first the mom is understandably like, bro, this is not safe. Like, did you straight up just put a bunch of balloons on the chair, but the dad is like, no, it's fine. Like, I've thought this through. I've got like 4 guys with ropes kind of anchoring the whole thing.
The ropes are not staked down.
No,
the ropes
I
are
do
not
think-
staked down.
I do think they should have, they've got like sandbags, but they're clearly still like the men physically holding each rope still clearly have to be holding it for it to be tied down, which is like, seems bad. Like they could have gotten heavier sandbags if they wanted this to work better. And suddenly,
and so of course,
a gust of wind
like
comes through and things get a
gust
little
of
dicey.
wind. And you think it's gonna be like, oh, she flies away and there's like a runaway, 15-year-old in the balloon, sort of a retreading of like the balloon rescue from a few seasons ago. But then
Right.
as it turns out, it's a bait and switch, because as she gets higher and higher, and the wind picks up, there's like a paraglider on top of a roof, and
Yeah,
it
she
lifts
sees,
up
like,
to
a
reveal
man
like an unconscious man.
On a roof, and she calls
It's a
911.
very
She calls
it's very
911
around
and
the
says,
way
it's my birthday.
way of like setting this
And
up.
I think I just saw a dead guy. I love the concept of starting a 911 call with, it's my birthday. That is how you feel on your birthday. Like, even when you're talking about non-birthday related things, you're like, and it's my birthday.
I love that they proceeded to have this outside, despite the fact that it is very aggressively overcast in this scene. So maybe it wasn't even going to be the most picturesque quince in the world anyways.
Well, it's like
but
a
that's
wedding.
fine.
You set the date, but you don't know that the weather's going to be perfect that day.
Ooh, let me tell you something about my cousin Carly's wedding, because when she married her husband Adam, they got married in Steamboat Springs, where they live, Colorado. And we all flew out for the occasion, etc. And it was very, very beautiful. And on the day of the wedding, it was raining. It was raining and windy, and it was like raining hard. So we rolled up to the location, and it was like raining, but the rain, I swear to God, the rain cleared for like just the duration of the ceremony. Like for the duration of the ceremony, the rain stopped, light shined through the clouds. I have photos of this. I have photographs. Light shined through the clouds, and it was like a picturesque ceremony. And then as soon as the ceremony was over, you may kiss the bride, etc. It started raining again. And so we all went back to the reception hall, and we had a great fucking time. And she played guitar at the reception with the band in her wedding dress.
Wow. It sounds like she's
Frickin'
God's
legend.
chosen person.
She always was. She was always the most put together one of our family. So I love that like God was rewarding her. But anyways, so the 118 rolls up to get this guy on the roof, right? Because it's an emergency. And there's a conspicuous addition to the A shift.
Yes.
There's a tall, lean, sort of chiseled blonde man, and his
Great
name is
description.
Jonah.
Yes.
And,
his name is Jonah, except Hen calls him Monday. And he's like, my name's not Monday, and you know it's not. And she's like, well, they send us a new guy every shift, so to me, you're Monday. I appreciate this.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate this disrespect and misandry from Hen. I think it's deserved.
I agree. Hen is a excellent judge of character.
She is.
And she clocked his tea
She had
so
that
hard
gut
right from the
feeling
jump.
that he was not worthy of respect.
Granted, and we're not going to spoil why for those of you who
Darn.
are watching
care.
at home in sequence who care. We're not going to spoil why she was right to distrust him. But let's just say, not what you think.
Or maybe it is. Maybe you're creative like that.
Yeah, and for those of you who do know, it's very funny. But they get up to this guy, and they sort of like, they tussle him a little bit. He wakes up, and they're like, what's going on? Oh, he was paragliding, a thing no one should ever do. And
No.
he
Least of
was
all
trying
over,
to
like-
dodge some like power lines.
I guess maybe in like as we've established many times over, we don't really know much about the geography of California / Los Angeles, but I guess maybe he could have been like starting in the mountains, because I was just thinking, why would you paraglide over like a residential area of Los Angeles? But then again, I've never gone paragliding.
And I never will go paragliding
No.
because I don't want to die, let alone end up, in a fate worse than death like this motherfucker.
Oh my God. This was one of the many viscerally disgusting and off-putting and make me want to cry parts of this episode. So whatever. They're going through the thing. They're giving him some morphine. He can't feel his legs. That's not good. Meanwhile, Bobby and Buck are underneath, like, because he's crashed through. Basically, half of him is in this roof. He's stuck in a roof. So his top
There's a lot
half
of bottom Buck energy in this episode, by the way, and I just need to say that.
And that, are you saying that because he is on the lower level, he is physically like going underneath this man? That's bottom Buck energy?
Yes. Yeah. Top hen is canon. Bottom Bobby and bottom Buck are canon.
Fair. So Buck and Bobby are like going into the attic of this house to go assess the damage underneath. And they get there and they're like, Hen, Jonah, can you guys come down here? And when they do, you guys, I'm going to vomit. I just wrote vomit, all caps, in my notes because you guys, it's so gross and it's so scary. I'm so scared. The guy's like kneecaps, it's like his top leg bones have gone through his knees. Bilateral open knee dislocation, Hen calls it. Literally the scariest thing I've ever seen.
I wrote in all caps, ew, femurs down through the knees, ew, somehow his femorals are still in play, ew.
Like, I almost gagged.
Yeah.
And I don't
like,
usually,
so
like, the gore on this show doesn't affect me very
at.
much, but this is such a horrifying concept.
It's like the most extreme version of like the bone poking through the skin I think I've ever seen. You know, because I already get like a little like, you know, like that first episode of Yellow Jackets where, you know, Thaisa breaks that girl's fucking leg and you can see the bone sticking out. You watch the first season, it's good. The rest is kind of eh. But but like that already like it makes me kind of like sort of viscerally uncomfortable. But to see this with like the bulbous, also, you know, joint like, connections in the bone,
it
on
feels kind
full
of out
display.
Of step with like the rest of the call is just kind of silly, goofy, and then it's like also the most horrific injury you've ever seen, and then it goes right back to being silly and goofy because Buck and Bobby, they're like wheeling the guy out. They've got just a big ass blanket over his entire lower half of his body because they know that they'll scar everyone here for life if they show this guy to people. And anyway, the mariachi band at the Quince start playing, and this is like one of my favorite like shots of the show ever is Buck and Bobby are walking out and Buck is just like really into it and he's like really lapping up the attention.
He starts showboating. Yeah.
He's like loves being played off this call by a mariachi band, and it does kind of make you wish that he could be played off of every call with a mariachi band. If nothing else, just because it'll make him so happy.
And then Bobby is like the mother cat, you know, like controlling her kitten or
she's
something.
Like, stop goofing around.
He fucking like nudges Buck or something, and he like shoots him a look, and then Buck's face like starts to fall, and he's like, "Come on,
why can't he have his fun?"
But he's not allowed. He's not allowed. So we get the title card after that traumatic experience. And then we go to the Athena household. Athena Grant is cooking a delicious seeming dinner. Harry is setting the table. Bobby just came home from a meeting, not AA. He came home from a meeting where they were like, why did you take 9 minutes to respond to this call? And he's like,
he came home from some kind of stodgy, like, it's kind of like at my work, they do like lead meetings where all the shift leads have to meet every month. It sounds like it's kind of a boss meeting where it's like maybe all the captains meet up with the higher ups and have to be like, you know, answer some questions and do some paperwork, whatever.
Oh my God, he's made it. He's made it.
He's the boss man. And apparently one of the things going on is that he still needs to pick replacements for Chimney and Eddie. Like, it's been long enough and he hasn't permanently filled that roster. And so the higher-ups are putting some pressure on him to finally do that.
Now, he brought the personnel files home and he sets them down on the table, and Athena's like, no homework at the dinner table. And Bobby's like, it's okay. I need to shower. I stink bad. I'm going to put these in my room. And May comes in and he runs into her, in the living room.
May's wearing like a Bert and Ernie style sweater. That's what her sweater. It's not a lesbian flag.
What is it with her and these fucking faggot little sweaters?
Okay,
like she is so. No, but she is. She is her gay ass sweaters. What are you trying to tell us?
It looks exactly like, I don't remember if it looks more like Ernie or Bert's sweaters, but it certainly looks like one of them.
What is it with May and like the Burlington Lesbian Factory collection? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, she's shopping exclusively at the Burlington Lesbian Factory. That sounds like it's a factory that makes lesbians.
Did he go there? Was that where you came from? They have one in Minnesota.
I was gonna say, take me there.
We'll find you a wife. Now he's like, how's work? And May's like, do you mean how's Eddie? Ooh.
And then we cut to a decently effective montage of Eddie doing his office job routine and coming to all the light leaving his eyes, basically. So it's revealed that post mid-season hiatus, what he's been up to is he's still a firefighter, but he's taken a job as like a sort of like LAFD representative or liaison at Dispatch. And so his job is mostly to tweet. He's got to sit down at the computer and tweet like, traffic update, there's a fire at this location, make extra time to get to work, you're gonna have to take a detour, whatever. He is absolutely queening out with May and Linda at Dispatch. Linda's giving him recipes, May's telling him the word of the day, Josh is being annoying, that's how it goes. And Eddie, despite this seemingly charmed life, we see that Eddie is not having it. We see him do this really rote routine every single day. He just like gets on the treadmill, he tries to sleep, he goes to his dumb job. Low-key, like, this is how most people have to live their lives, so I don't feel that bad for him. But no, he's clearly dealing with something else underneath the surface. We see the light slowly leave his eyes.
His latent
we see
homosexuality.
We see him like kind of not be able to sleep at a certain point. We see they start giving him this makeup that makes him look like a zombie. Like by the end of this episode, they've given him like these dark circles under his eyes. He looks bad. So he's struggling, but we can't really tell with what yet.
Okay, there's an absolutely insane shot in this that I need to call attention to, because he's talking to Linda at Dispatch and he flashes his phone because his alarm goes off, and then he's like, oop, duty calls. And by duty, I mean Twitter or whatever the fuck. And the number on his phone, like the clock, if you will, says 12:27. Is Eddie clocking into work every day at 12:30? Is
Eddie working like 12 to 3 every day? And he's like, oh, this sucks.
And making a livable wage with government benefits? Fuck you.
No,
hang the parasites.
Honestly, another thing that makes me depressed lately about 911 is the fact that like people on Twitter get mad at us for no reason, sometimes for a reason, but most of the time for no reason. And so as he was sitting down to tweet, I was like, man, it would suck to have a job where your job is just Twitter. He probably gets people like in his mentions, like do you think like the 911 fandom is in his mentions being like, I don't know. I think people are like critiquing his language and his tweets. They're like, you shouldn't say a house fire. You should really say an infired house.
An inflamed house.
An inflamed house or something. And it's really fucked up that and like, do they jump to a bunch of conclusions about the tone of his tweets?
Maybe he like has like a day where he's like, meet the man behind the account, and people start like fucking absolutely savaging him like they just did to my oomphy Jimmy Outsold. Did you see that? Did you see what they did to my oomph? It was so mean. He just wanted to go see Zarala Godson in concert and have a cute time, but he got his grinder bag. He did a photo shoot with them, and he got paid. So good for him.
Basically
Jimmy
Eddie wants to die.
Is,
Eddie is
sweetheart.
dead inside. Eddie has problems, and we're not really sure what's going on yet. Like, at this point, it kind of just seems like he doesn't like not being a firefighter anymore. But supposedly there is more to it than that. He hates his job,
he hates his wife, and he hates trans people. Wow.
Well,
wow.
But, like, Eddie doesn't hate trans people. I hope. But then we cut to Eddie has made dinner for Buck, Taylor, and Christopher. He's got the makeup on that makes him look insane and like a zombie, so that's alarming. Buck is fucking housing the food on the table. Buck is eating like he's got a plate full of Eddie's ass. Sorry, who said that? No, Buck is eating like a man who's never eaten before. And Taylor is kind of just picking at her food. And Eddie's like, is your food okay? And she's like, oh, it's actually really good. I'm not that hungry. And Eddie looks at Buck and he's like, he told you to eat before this, right? And Buck's like, listen, I didn't want to take any chances. Like, you're a bad cook and you wouldn't like Taylor when she's hangry, which I believe it. She would have started like calling Eddie slurs probably. No. So Buck is like, what's going on? Like, Carla, come out. Like, I know that you actually cooked this. And Eddie's like, I don't know. Now that I've got a regular schedule, I've got more time to practice cooking. And they're like, that's great.
Did you ever see that TikTok? You describing this reminds me so hard of this TikTok of these two gay guys. One of them's teaching the other one how to use like gay lingo. And so he's like, Mother 8 left no crumbs. She's serving. And the other one is like, waiter, can I get a plate of Mother's cunt to go? I already ate.
I have not seen that. Thank you, though. But finally, Buck is like, well, Eddie goes back to the kitchen, and Buck says to Taylor, I'm going to go check on my boyfriend. Sorry, girlfriend. You gotta stay here. Really funny to me.
People get down on Buck for cheating in this episode, but I mean, he's been emotionally cheating on Taylor since before their relationship even began. He's been emotionally cheating on every
girlfriend since he met Eddie. I do think it's really funny that he left Taylor and Christopher at the table together. Guys, what were they talking about?
What were they talking about?
They talked about journalism. They talked about ethics.
Christopher is a really sharp kid. I actually think they had a really interesting conversation.
Either that, or Taylor was like, "Okay, give me the real, give it to me straight, Christopher.
Oh my God.
Do you think your dad is fucking my boyfriend?"
And Christopher's like, yes. Yeah, now can I tell you all of the juicy gossip and stories from my school? I feel like Christopher, like he saw that Taylor was a reporter. And then he's like, let me tell you everything that's going on at school. And then you can choose to write an article about it. If you find something good. And then Taylor like has her pen and like her notepad. And she's like, tell me more. She's like, wait, let me get my pen. Tell me more.
Well, in the kitchen, classic buddy kitchen scene. Buck's like, hey man, you look really bad actually. And he also says the extremely gay line of, look man, you don't have to pretend with me. And you're like, what kind of non-homoerotic besties say that to each other? But Buck's like, I remember what it was like when I was Fire Marshal Buck. Like I got really upset not being able to do my job. And Eddie's like, I like my job, I'm fine. And Buck's like, but you're a firefighter. You're supposed to be a firefighter. And Eddie's like, I'm still a firefighter. And he says to Buck, he's like, you have to move on. I have. Mm-hmm. Which is both funny because, again, telling Buck he has to move on in this situation really just doesn't feel like platonic or normal at all.
No, it doesn't. In fact, after he says that, they fuck hard in the kitchen because neither of them have moved on.
Yeah,
Eddie is a fake and gay firefighter. He is a fake and gay firefighter. We need to like say this like as loud as possible. Eddie Diaz is a fake and gay firefighter. He is stolen valor. And Eddie, so he walks back into the kitchen, interrupting Taylor and Chris's like gossip sesh. Taylor is like right in the middle of scribbling down her notes when Eddie walks back in. Like, I'm still not fucking your boyfriend, bro. And then you get a Jonah jump scare.
Yes.
So at the 118 the next day.
At the 118 the next day, Jonah is back, even though it's Tuesday. And Hen's like, "You're back," and he's like, "Yeah, they asked me to come in again. I guess you'll be seeing a little more of me." He's trying to stalk the ambulance, and Hen is very, she's got the ick, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course she does. He's stalking the ambulance. I mean, that's a crime, you know?
What's next?
Where is it going? It's so stupid, but
it is.
He's stalking the ambulance.
It's
like, where is it going?
There's also a mention of Bobby making gazpacho for lunch today. So that sounds really good. Wish I could have had some.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a cold Spanish soup. Upstairs,
Gazpacho.
Hen, have you never seen Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown? Gazpacho is a big plot point in that movie.
So I live that, actually, because I engage with women every day, and I listen to them.
You're literally talking
and
to
their
a
problems.
woman on the verge right now.
I am. I've been talking to a woman on the verge of a nervous breakdown for the last 45 minutes.
Really,
I don't know.
For the last,
I don't know what more
half.
that you want from me with your gazpacho, Jane.
Just imagine a movie where a woman tries to kill herself via gazpacho. You gotta watch it. Almodovar. You're not a real gay if you haven't watched it. I'm just saying.
I can vividly imagine that, actually. Oh, that's where I know the name, because I've aggressively stalked Almodovar's Wikipedia page.
Oh, but apparently you haven't aggressively stalked it enough to watch any of it.
Well, that takes time, and as you know, I've been on Adderall for the last 10 days, and writing a lot, and it's all been filth. But anyways, so Bobby is being dad while his gazpacho is a brewing. Hen comes up and she's like, I don't like the cut of that guy's jib. Meanwhile, Buck comes up and he's like, I miss Eddie so bad. Jib.
Yes, Buck comes up.
Why?
Because I don't know. It occurred to me. So Buck comes up and he's like, yeah, I miss Eddie so bad, and I am worried that his transfer isn't temporary. And, I thought
you
Jimmy
please
and Eddie
wrangle
back.
Eddie back to
Dad,
the firehouse so that, I can bend him over.
You told me that
like
the
the
dog
fucking
just went
bench
up to the farm.
in the clear changing room, Like, bring him back. Bring him home.
Bring him home.
He is young.
Yes.
He's afraid.
So Bobby's like, I don't really have time for either of your gay shit. And we cut to this family driving.
Speed!
It's Speed.
Wow.
It's the movie Speed. We cut to the movie Speed because this couple with their dumbass iPad baby in the back, they're driving. Their kids are like locked in on their phones, headphones on, so they don't care what the parents are talking about. But they're like, I think your mother hates me. Why does she hate me so much? And the guy's like, she just has a funny way of showing it. It's fine. He gets a call from an unknown number. He picks up, he's like, I don't want any of your telemarketing, whatever. And the guy on the phone is like, I've put a bomb in your car and it's going to go off if you dip below 55 miles per hour. This is the plot of the movie Speed. And of course the couple are like, yeah, we've seen Speed. And the guy's like, no, I know your children's names. I know where you live. This is real. This is happening. And then they get freaked out, so they call 911.
He's like, look in the center console. And then they do, and there's like some sci-fi tech magic in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, God, this guy's serious. So they call Linda Bates, as one does. And she's like, psh, I've seen Speed, and goes to hang up. But they're like, no, this time it's for real. It's for real, Miss Bates. We didn't get any of the original stars back because one of them already dropped out for the sequel, and by this point they were both kind of over it. But it's us. It's us.
Yeah.
We're the new Speed. Okay, so it's so funny that you mentioned cruise control because so Athena rolls up, and at first I'm thinking, why does this guy need to keep his foot on the gas while he's like intensely focused on keeping his speed above 55 miles per hour? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a standard feature on most passenger grade automobiles, like a vast majority of them. And the feature is called cruise control, where you set like a set speed in your vehicle, whether it's a car or a truck or an SUV. It stays steady at that speed until you either turn it off or hit the brakes. I know this is a lot to take in, but it's actually been around for quite some time.
Okay, the point
to all
is
of
there
our
will be a
non-driving
reason
listeners.
that his foot has to be on the gas. But he doesn't
Right,
know that
and
at
so-
this point, so I don't know.
When that happened, I was like, oh, that's why he couldn't cruise control. But then I was like, wait, I feel like if this was me in the driver's seat, like we'd all be dead by now.
You'd immediately go,
You know?
okay, cruise control, and then the car would blow up.
Yeah, that's the dangers of automation. Athena is in her cop car. She's driving up to the guy, and they fly a drone underneath his truck to check out the bomb. And it's like, yep, that's
There's
a bomb. So then the 118 gets in their little trucks, and they start to match the speed of the guy's car. Athena and the cops have cleared the highway, right? They've cleared the freeway of all traffic so that he can, maintain this level of speed. And the trucks roll up, the ladder truck and the other one, and they're matching the guy's speed like it's that scene in Interstellar where he has to like match the rate of the spin in order to dock the endurance. And it's very daring. And then welcome to ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lucy Donato.
Yes, the 147 or whatever has rolled up, and with them, female buck kind of type character pitch.
Female
Lucy
Buck
Donato.
1.0 kind of.
Yes,
Female Buck 1.0.
We've got this
without
sort
any
of
of the whimsy.
daredevil female firefighter played by that lady who was in some other stuff. We all know.
That lady who looks a decent amount like a younger Lisa Rinna with her old face.
She does look a bit like Lisa Rinna, and part of the reason I'm off-put by Lucy, this is gonna sound mean, but it's kind of just like the combination of her like weird Karen haircut and her like slight LA plastic surgery. She kind of looks like Megyn Kelly to me or something, and I'm just like, girl, like I don't think I would be friends with you, I don't think we would running in the same circle. She says later that she comes from a family of cops. It's like, I know you voted for RFK Jr. I just know you did.
Yeah.
You're probably
She's
the lady
like one
at the co-op who
set
thinks
of cheek
canola oil
fillers
is toxic.
away from like Mar-a-Lago face. You know what I mean?
It's really
she is like,
giving. I'm trying not to be that mean about like her face, whatever. It's like, I don't want to judge. I mean, I feel better about judging people's plastic surgery than like their looks that they can't do anything about, because at least with
unless
surgery,
they're
it's
Lou
like, well, you
Ferrigno
did
Jr.
choose to do that. But yeah, there is the combination of the hair and the face. It is kind of giving a certain look. And I felt like I was watching Megyn Kelly kiss Buck, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was actually, you know what it was calling to mind for me now that I think about it? It was calling to mind. So there were multiple instances in this episode where I thought about the White Lotus. And do you remember the one friend who was the friend of like the Gwyneth Paltrow character?
I didn't
and
watch
the
it,
Carrie
but I think
Coon
I know
character?
exactly what actress you're talking about. She was in Juror number 2.
Yes.
And she also has a very similar face and hair situation going on.
Yeah, so it could be kind of
Good
like
actress,
if that
but
lady was like a kind of like a lame firefighter written by a man. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Who comes from a family of cops.
Yes.
So the point
She's
is,
the problem child. She's
I
the wild
honestly-
child.
yeah, I honestly, like, this scene is clearly like the centerpiece of the episode. It happens, well, not quite halfway through, but it happens like close to halfway through. And
Like 15,
it's,
16-ish minutes in,
we've
yeah.
got this director who's a stunt coordinator. It was clearly this big stunt. And yet I thought it was kind of just a boring, action scene. So I don't really care to describe it in that much detail. Basically,
Yeah, I agree.
All
They
the
jump
firefighters
onto the
get
bed
on
of the
car,
truck.
They
It's a
get the
pickup
people out of the car
truck,
one
yeah.
by one. And the big dramatic thing is right at the end. They think okay, we need to talk about Eddie. Hashtag we need to talk about Eddie. Because
Hashtag we need to make Eddie gay.
yes. We need to talk about Eddie, directed by Lynn Ramsey. Eddie realizes he is hearing this happen at dispatch, and he is like he radios into the 118. He's like, guys, it's me, it's Eddie.
Is at dispatch, and with Linda Bates, his work wife, he is watching the chase, I guess you could call it, the situation
Linda's
unfold.
still manning the call.
Like it's
he was watching it happen on TV.
like it's like a dead wife flashback. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, kind of, or like he's watching like VHS tapes of his dead wife and like yearning. But then he's like, oh my god, he has like a character realization that doesn't show up on his face for whatever reason. And then he goes to...
Yeah, he goes over to Linda and he's like, give me your earpiece. And then he's like, put me through to the rescue team. Guys, 118, it's Eddie. Hey, Marisol, Eddie. A bomb like that, it's a sophisticated device. There could be like a pressure sensor somewhere that senses the driver's movements. So let me talk to the driver. They put him through to the driver and he's like, listen, I need you to tell me if there's anything around your seat or under the gas pedal that looks like it might be connected to the bomb, like wires. And the guy looks and he sees this thingy under the gas pedal. It's a pressure switch.
It's a Minecraft pressure plate. Yeah, it's a Minecraft pressure plate. And so if he takes his foot off, it's going to explode.
So luckily he was too stupid to put the car in cruise control.
You know?
And Eddie's
think about how like all of those saw traps would have been so extremely escapable if like the 118 was on the scene to like help them through it. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like all the saw traps. Like this is a saw trap. This is a saw trap. As far as I'm concerned, this is a saw trap. And like the 118 is there to like handle it because Jigsaw can't compete with the LAFD. Now, listen,
they realize
while he's doing this.
So Eddie to the rescue. Eddie got his little moment of action, even though he has a boring job now. And they're like, okay, I guess we're going to have to make another plan. Like, we can't just get the guy out. We're going to have to maybe like get everybody else out and then try and defuse the bomb while he's still driving. And Buck's like, there's going to be a problem with that because the road's closed 2 miles up ahead. We don't have a lot of highway left. Cut to commercial.
Cut to commercial through the mirror of my mind.
We come back and blah, blah, blah. They get everybody out of the car. And finally, the big dramatic thing. Well, first of all, the couple waste like so much time just like talking about dumb emotional stuff. I mean,
oh my God. Yeah, no, it's true. I was like, this is literally not the time.
Left of road and he's going at 55 miles per hour. I was like, girl, you probably have already run out of road if this were real time. Because the mom is telling him like, I've run all the scenarios in my head. How many did we win? 1. She's like, I need you to survive because if you die and it's just me with the kids, then your mom's gonna hate me forever and blah blah blah.
And while they're saying this, they crash into the barrier and they both fucking die.
Well, there's literally a moment where they kiss. They like across the console they kiss and like while he's driving, and I was like, yeah, put your eyes on the road. Eyes on the road. Eyes on the road.
Athena has to like coax her out of the car by like relating to her mother-in-law
she's
trauma.
Like, yeah, my mom didn't like my husband very much. It's like, you guys, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for any of this.
And so Lucy, the badass, wild child that she is, she swoops in and she takes like, I don't know, a crowbar or something, and she fucking sticks that onto the gas pedal and gets everyone out, and everyone lives, and everyone gets out of the truck, and then the truck crashes into the barrier. I need you guys to understand something before we say what happens to the truck. I need you guys to understand that when Eddie was on the phone with hijacking Linda's call and like giving like Buck direction, Josh was like so mad.
Josh was seething in the background.
He was
Josh
pissed.
Looked so pissed.
He had his angry eyes out, he had his angry eyes, and he had that like Florence Pugh frown in Midsommar going on. It was very, it was a very Florence performance. It was very funny. But yes, they get everyone out. The truck crashes into like the end of the road barrier and whatnot. Water flies everywhere, and there's like a brief pause as everyone watches like the very expensive, presumably crash.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I guess the bomb wasn't real.
Oh, yeah, I guess that wasn't a real bomb. And then the truck fucking explodes.
Yeah, of course, it explodes. And
it explodes like, so hard.
Real. Like, I guess it wasn't.
So yeah, that's Lucy. I don't love Lucy.
Well, we'll get there. To be clear, I didn't mean to just be like, I don't like the way she looks. Like, that's not the main reason we don't love Lucy we don't love Lucy. That could be a great title for this episode.
There it is. There it is.
The main reasons come later. But yes, we've been introduced to Lucy. She's clearly supposed to be like a daredevil, hothead, kind of like Buck 1.0. So cut to Eddie. Eddie's getting ready to clock out. And who should come in but fucking Josh, who's like,
are you ready
Eddie,
for Josh's one big scene of the season?
You guys, I'm sorry. There are so many things, as I've said, there are so many things that like stress me out and piss me off in this episode, for better or for worse. One of them is Josh. Josh, lay off, just like get out of my life. What's happening is Eddie's getting ready to clock out, and Josh is like, hey, big plans tonight? And Eddie's like, yeah, I'm just gonna get some drinks with friends. And Josh is like, yeah, earlier that was a lot. Like, that was scary. Good call, like figuring out that there was a pressure sensor. By the way, don't ever fucking do that again, you little bitch boy. He's like, I mean, he's like, the way it works around here, like, we have our ways, and you better never. He says, you could have brought your concerns to me, which, like, come on. I get his problem is that Eddie hijacked a call, but I would argue, first of all, okay. I think, this was a situation.
What do you argue?
This was a situation where
it was a situation.
It was so life or death, right? Like, literally 1 second, like, because that guy, what was stopping him from putting the car in cruise control? Like, 1 second, if he'd waited one more second, who knows if the guy would have, kept his foot on the gas pedal. So I think Josh is I think this scene is so, like, I get that, like, in real life, like, yeah, there is procedure and whatever, but it kind of, people bend the rules all the time on this show, around procedure and whatever, depending on what's appropriate. And it really does feel like more so than trying to do something good or, like, reinforce the right behavior. It really feels like Josh just wants to try and
take Eddie down a peg.
Yeah, wants him to not get too comfortable being competent in Josh's turf, and it feels so bitchy. That's what it feels so like. Annoying.
It feels really bitchy. It feels like an alpha gay defending his territory from the newer, younger, hotter gay.
And it also feels like,
I
guess
mean?
This is just, this is going to make me sound like an Eddie girl. Guys, this never happens, but I'm going to sound like somebody who defends Eddie beyond even a reasonable degree. Knowing that Eddie has stuff going on, it feels all the more like obviously Josh has no way of knowing that, but it's like, to be fair, Eddie does look bad. I feel like cut him some slack.
I was asking, like, why does his hair look like he's like, in like a Dr. Seuss book? He looks like Thing One in this scene. Like, he looks disheveled.
He looks
and
disheveled.
Unkempt.
His eyes are, Eddie even says it felt like time was of the essence, and Josh says, around here time is always of the essence, which I feel like is not an answer. Like, that's not, like, no, Eddie was saying,
some bullshit.
That is some bullshit.
That's like some like parent bullshit, like that they say when they're like gaslighting their child.
It's like, time is always of the essence, but what Eddie's saying is that, it only would have taken a second for that guy to take his foot off the pedal. Like, not knowing that information for one more second was a big risk. And Josh is also, the reason it feels like he's just taking him down a peg is he goes, but you are an LAFD liaison, not a dispatcher. So it's like, it really feels like it's not about, like, even being qualified. It feels like it's just like, because, like, Eddie is qualified to, like, get on the radio and convey information, right? It's just that he's not literally a dispatcher. So it really feels like it's just Josh being like, because you're not technically a part of my posse, you don't get to do that, and fuck you, and you should die. And it's like, where was this energy for
and it's
Claudette?
Like weird.
I'm sorry, where was this energy
I was thinking about
for
that.
Claudette?
I was genuinely thinking about that. Like, you're going to dismiss everything May said, but you're going to, like, corner Eddie.
And me defending Eddie hijacking the call, like, it makes more of an argument for Claudette's actions not being bad. And I do think her hijacking May's calls was one of the less bad things she did. But the worst thing was the coffee, okay? The worst thing was the coffee.
That was really bad.
Ryan,
but everything else, she did nothing wrong. Everything else, she did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if it's such a big deal, I mean, I get it. Like, Claudette was a dispatcher, and I guess that's the only part that's important. But it's really like, okay, you were so fine with Claudette hijacking calls from May for no reason.
No,
but
I genuinely have to ask this. What is the problem here? Is the problem strictly like,
I think it's strictly ceremonial.
Like,
it's strictly like
ceremonial.
Yeah,
Eddie had access to information that none of them had access to.
You have not been trained
Time
as a
was of the
dispatcher,
essence.
So you were not
like,
entitled
literally,
to pick
children's
up that
lives were
call.
at stake. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So like
It's
saying like
ridiculous.
he's like not
So-
like on paper qualified to do this. It's like, well, I don't know. Did he save the kids' lives? Where are Josh's priorities? Like, does he
Yeah.
bend the knee to bureaucracy every single time? It's
Yeah,
strange.
like, Josh-
It's strange.
I highly doubt that Josh has never, bent the rules a little bit. So basically, there are a lot of things in this episode on my shit list, and Josh is now on my shit list. Josh, you're in the doghouse this time. We were apologizing to your actor last week for not knowing how to say his last name.
Ryan Safi, you will forever be famous. Josh Russo, you're in the doghouse,
You're
and
on thin
honestly,
ice.
your freaky ass probably likes that. So, woof for us. Woof for us, babe. Woof, Josh. And also, the thing that makes this worse is that, like, in the Claudette and May feud, both Corinne and Vanessa are on their shit as actors. Versus in this scene, I don't know if it's because it's the director who's not comfortable working with actors, or it's just the latent lack of talent on display here.
You think they're having
But,
a mid-off?
They're having a mid-off. The girls are having a mid-off. It's ridiculous. So my eyes were glazing over in this scene. I'm like, oh my God, not only am I mad, but I want this to end.
Two men with beautiful brown eyes that are completely vacant and expressing nothing. Yes. I was just so pissed
you
at
walked
Josh.
away with
Yeah,
your
so
brown
thanks,
eyes.
Josh, for making me take... I am not the first person to take Eddie's side in a conflict, I'm one of the most...
Famously.
Yes, famously, I am one of the most level-headed, even-handed, not blinded by... I'm trying to make it sound complimentary to myself.
Everyone sees it that way,
Eddie Diaz
too.
babying people in the world, and Eddie Diaz is a baby in this scene, and Josh is a monster.
And is.
So
Yep.
at the bar,
Yep.
the 118 has gone out to the bar after, and
Buck about to
Lucy
cheat.
is there.
Sorry. Buck about to cheat so hard.
And they're like watching their own rescue on TV, and isn't that fun? Bobby mentions...
Imagine watching your own fucking rescue on TV. That's like that's like watching, like that's like uploading like a YouTube video and then like watching it on the couch.
I've done that.
I've done that too.
I've done that.
I've done that. Absolutely. I just think it's so funny because it's like, oh, this is kind of relatable.
It is funny. And Bobby mentions, he's like, only LA firefighters would care about like their screen time, their media presence, right? And Buck says, what did they care about in Minnesota, Cap? Cheese? And Bobby rightfully corrects him. He's like, cheese is Wisconsin's thing. In Minnesota, we care about our state grain of wild rice, which is true. And literally today, I ate chicken wild rice soup for lunch. So
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about the wild rice Minnesota representation. So thank you for addressing that, taking initiative.
We love a nice wild rice soup, and we literally had it at the deli today, and I ate it. So
Hen had the appropriate reaction that I feel like most people would have in this conversation, where she goes, "You have a state grain."
Does every state not have a grain? Our flour is the lady slipper.
I don't think Washington has a state grain, but I do know that we have a very interesting and humorous, to the point of actually being kind of embarrassing.
I can't find any evidence that
things.
Washington has a state grain.
Do you know that Washington's state
among
gem
the nation's top wheat producing states in 2024?
Hello, thank you. Did you know that Washington's state gem is petrified wood?
That's not a gem.
I know.
I know. I guess I can't. I'm in the glass house of having a state grain, so never mind. I kind of just always assumed that every state had that. But everybody's like, Bobby, you're being boring. Nobody cares about Minnesota, even though I do. And Eddie comes in. Eddie walks in because, as he said to Josh, he was planning on getting drinks tonight. But literally, this is what else pissed me off about Josh, is I feel like Josh's comments to him directly led to him like being in a bad mood and deciding to blow off the party because he felt bad about himself.
Yeah.
And like,
no,
again,
honestly,
obviously Josh
it was
couldn't have known
hurting
that,
for him in
but it
this
feels
scene.
really sad. And like, Josh should have just shut the fuck up. So
well,
Eddie
it's a
walks
good
in.
like reminder to people that like you don't know what someone's struggling with, so maybe there are instances where you should be like kind of nice to someone just in case, especially if they look like they're kind of going through a hard time. That you should just like take it easy on them.
I do think the other thing I want to note about the Eddie and Josh thing before I finally shut up about it is Eddie really, like, there is a difference. The one thing I'll say about Claudette is, like, you could tell that she was hijacking May's calls because she did feel superior in that way, right? Eddie, it really seemed like he was not doing this out of any sort of, like, megalomania or, like, wanting to be more important at the dispatch. It was that it occurred to him that he had some information that nobody else had thought of. Like, it did feel like he was coming at it from a genuine place. So I feel like that should also count in his favor. Like, it's one thing if Josh could tell that Eddie was doing this to really, like, one up everybody or show off, but it really didn't seem that way.
Well, okay, so when you were growing up, when you did something bad or, like, made a mistake completely earnestly, were your parents, like, stricter with you about, like, disciplining you on that because it was earnest and they thought that was a better way to make you learn, rather than, like, if you were, like, intentionally causing troubles, they would just be like, you know?
I don't know. I think it depended on the situation.
Yeah, but maybe that's what was Josh's intent, was like, let me parent this actual parent and
but
discipline him.
But I think that's bad parenting. I feel like when
I agree, that's bad parenting.
When the mistake is earnest, then you are not hard on them about it. If Eddie had been trying to show off, you would be hard on him about it. Anyway, Eddie shows up to the bar. And the waitress is like, hey, like, are you with the firefighters? And he kind of looks over at, well, Buck is really framed, you know, like, as central to this shot. But he looks over at Buck enjoying himself and everyone enjoying themselves. And he goes, no, actually, no, I'm leaving. And you're like,
it's so
and he
sad.
Just turns around. It literally is so sad. Like, he feels like he doesn't belong in this group anymore. So he leaves.
I don't belong here.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. Bobby goes to leave. Bobby's been on water all night because he's #sober.
He probably has to pee so bad.
And Hen corners him and is like, so I think you should fire Jonah. I don't like him. I actually think that, like, if given the opportunity, you should, like, run him down with the truck. And Bobby's like, bruh, you know, just chill. You know, he's been here 2 days. He's done nothing wrong. He's such a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like there's no way he could be, like, harboring some, like, dark secret and, like, actually turn out to be, like, this, like, crazy cartoon villain of a character. That's crazy. You're crazy, Hen. Classic case of female hysteria. And then he leaves, and Jonah comes over
funny.
And he's like, yeah, classic case of female hysteria.
Well, yes, Jonah is like, you know, I'm actually kind of nervous being here at the 118 because this is the assignment everyone wants. The 118 are like this mythic, great team, which I will say, I always kind of disliked this moment. I think it's bad that there's an acknowledgement in universe that, like, the 118 are particularly cool and brave and do awesome stuff. I think that's kind of lame. I think that takes away from the whole thing, but it's just a minor thing.
No, I could see that because it's like, I think part of the fun of this universe is just accepting that, like, all of this that we see is just what goes down on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of takes the magic away to be like, oh, yes, everyone knows the legendary 118. Like, that's less charming.
Yeah, if anything, I think it'd be fun to maybe make, like, the 118, like, the underdogs, like the losers, or like the one that nobody wants to get assigned to.
Right.
Always like,
I've always wished that we could do like a 118 becomes the underdog team, which is why I liked this most recent episode in season 9 where the 118 are like under review and have to kind of go on trial. Some people were theorizing, this didn't end up happening, but people were theorizing that they would be like split up and sent to all different firehouses, which I think would have been really fun for the record. But that's not what happened. Anyway, I did always think like, at the very least, it'd be fun to see maybe one of our characters at a more struggling firehouse. And that would be my pitch if I ever get to write my 999, my UK spinoff of 911. My idea is like, I think it's kind of lame that every spinoff has had like just this beautiful, pristine, like fire station. Like, I think to be fair, at the beginning of Lone Star, he has to like build his own team from the ground up. But I think he does that relatively quickly, and they like work pretty well and he's got like this beautiful state-of-the-art firehouse. My concept for 999, it's set in it's set in like this Soho firehouse that is known for being like the shitty, they've gone to the shit, and they're sort of like this frat house of like misfit guys, and they're like sexist, they're really bad, they let people die all the time, and then they get assigned this new captain to kind of clean them up, and he's like I'm gonna make you guys work well together, and maybe there'll be a woman there too. Anyway, that's my pitch. Hit me up, Tim Minear, if you're done being mad at me.
Well, my pitch is 911 Fire Island. So I think,
I could see this.
911
clearly.
Fire Island. Yeah. There. And like,
then, of
and
course,
like the twist.
First episode.
The twist is that there's that all of the people in the 911 Fire Island firehouse start off as straight, and then they all have their own separate like coming out journeys.
I thought
as
the twist was going to be,
things.
well, first of all, that's just OG 911. Second of all, I thought the twist was going to be that like first episode you get that 911 call where it's like, help, Fire Island, it's on fire.
That would be the pilot. Like the fire, the great fire of Fire Island, that sort of thing.
And then they have to
you
rebuild
get
from the
a
ground
bonus
up.
win. You get a bonus win because then you actually get to see the firefighters fighting fires.
It would be so perfect. Anyway, I forget why we started talking about. Yes, I don't like this mythologizing of like the sort of self-awareness of the 118. I think is bad.
Oh my god. Scratch the like they all start as straight and they all come out over the course of the show thing for my Fire Island spinoff. The thing that like makes them mythic is that they're all fucking sluts.
Okay, they're all
sluts, and they
they're
have like,
1.0s.
they're all buck 1.0s, and they have like slutty little like bisexual firehouse orgies or whatever. And it's like the trashy firehouse. It's like Spring Breakers
this
kind of.
911 installment could air like direct to Hulu because it's too risque for network TV.
Yeah, I see this on like, I don't see it on HBO. I see it on
like
Showtime.
FX.
Yeah, I see this as like, I like the same network that brought us like Queer as Folk back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like it has to be that level of like, like slutty, soapy, gay drama. You know what I mean?
I love this for you. I love this for you. Anyway,
anyways.
yes, I do think it's interesting that in hindsight, Hen was kind of just like spot on with this completely unsubstantiated instinct. Like that instinct actually was valid. I think that's a funny thing to kind of make canon. But basically, Jonah's like, I get it. You want your partner back. And she's like, yeah, I do. You'll never be a replacement for him. And he's like, I'm not trying to be a replacement for him, but
you will never be her.
Maybe we can be friends. Maybe I can put in the time and you can trust me. And it's like, we'll
Chimney
see about
Han
that.
He's more beautiful and older, but younger at heart than this absolute lecherous creep. Now back at home, Bobby is talking with Athena, and he's like, man, they're really coming down on me to fill these holes in the roster. And so he's gonna take in some strays, but unfortunately he just never can say goodbye.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And Athena's like, listen, it's not that deep, bro. Bobby's like, so like when I was with the 118, like prime 118, it was like the best team I've ever worked on. We get more mythologizing. It was like the best team I've ever worked on. Maybe the best team I ever will work on. And Athena's like, they were the island of misfit toys. They're all minorities. They're in the 118.
Well, okay, there are a couple big lines we have to acknowledge here. The first is when Bobby says, I feel less like a fire captain and more like a matchmaker. And it's like we've had months of blind dates, none that Buck or Hen approve of, which implies that, well, I guess it technically implies that both Buddy and Hen and Chimney's relationships are romantic, but for the purposes of Buddy maxing, we'll just assume that it only applies to Buddy. The other
moment.
thing, also shout out to matchmaker Bobby. He said, I put my hand in there. I put my hand in there. Anyway, Bobby also has this line where he's like, Athena says to him the 118 wasn't exactly a dream team when you first got there. It was this island of misfit toys. And Bobby's like, yeah, there were one or two bad apples there. To which Athena says, that you tossed aside. You guys, Tommy, canonically a bad apple.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
That the
Tommy
show just
Kennard,
dismissed Tommy
the least
and
popular
Sal,
boy
of course,
at the
who could
118.
forget Salami, the beautiful duo.
Salami.
them-
Shout out to our viewer who, like, I don't know, has like Sal's like actor as like a professor or something like that.
I forgot about that.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to
Shout
you.
out to you.
I'm sure the actor is a lovely guy. No shade to that guy. Yes, canonically, Tommy was a bad apple that Bobby tossed aside. I feel like nobody's really picked up on this. I've never seen this spread around on Tommy.
They're sleeping on this.
forums.
This is great, like, you know, Tommy hating like material. This is great, like, you know, like a truth nuke for the Buck Tommies out there.
Yeah.
That like even Buck's, you know, devoted father figure didn't enjoy Tommy from the jump and was right to do so.
It's brutal.
So that's that. Unless there are more big lines that you wanted to discuss.
No. Basically, the point of the scene is Athena's like, you didn't stumble into this special team. You built it, and you can do it again. And he's like, thanks,
And it's
sweetie.
like, oh yeah. And then we see one of the special team members. We cut to
Buck is
Buck
playing
bending
pool.
over a pool table.
Buck is bending over the pool table.
I said,
at the
I'm
bar.
sure.
Not in a fun way.
You know?
He is playing pool at the bar
Because Eddie
with Lucy.
didn't show up.
And Eddie didn't show up. And let's just talk about how the pool tables are red and the light fixtures above them are red. And it's reflecting all this red light onto both of them. And from a filmmaking perspective, it really does feel like Buck has found himself in this den of sin and he's about to sin. And this is all wrong for him. Because blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Taylor's talking about how she's such a tomboy and she grew up with 7 brothers and her family's all cops.
Say Taylor, Lucy.
Oh, God. Let me take that again.
No.
And Lucy's just talking about how, you know, she's such a tomboy. She grew up with 7 brothers. Her family are all cops. She orders them 2 margaritas. And even this gave me the ick because they're like these tall, like margaritas in beer glasses. So it's very clear to me that this is like one of those bars that does not really do margaritas. And she asked for them. And so they're probably going to be bad. And that's cringe to me. And also it's cringe to me that she's doing this whole like I'm a tomboy thing in a very men writing women kind of thing way. It's cringe to me that she mentions that she's from a family full of cops and she's the only firefighter. I'm like, great. Okay, so this is kind of just confirming to me that you come from a MAGA family.
For sure. I'm not scrubbing the episode. On the margaritas, can you take a peek at the rim for me, please? I need to know if they're salt or tahini margs. Because
No, they do have salt. They are just salt because she says, margaritas, hope you like them with salt, which is also a very bizarre thing to say because like every margarita is served with a salt rim.
everyone likes a marg with salt. If someone
That's
drinks a
part of the
margarita
drink.
but doesn't like salt, that's ridiculous. And I've known people like that, and I don't trust them.
But yeah, something about
but also,
these
you know,
margaritas
these
gave
are
me
not
the
made
ick.
with fresh lime juice. You know,
No,
these are
they
not
look like
made
they're
with
from
like
Mix.
fresh ingredients.
Buck seems
Ugh.
kind of weirded out that she ordered them at all. I'm weirded out. We're all weirded out. Even Buck was weirded the fuck out. Yeah, so I don't like this. and Taylor's like, you Ubered, right? Maybe we could Uber
Taylor?
home to get... Stop. Do I keep saying Taylor?
You keep saying
You guys,
Taylor.
I
What
am not
the
used.
fuck?
I am not used to saying Lucy's name. That's how much my body rejects her. You guys, I got the ick so bad from Lucy, and I like women. In fact, I am attracted to them. And this woman,
That makes one of us.
like, she feels like she again. It just feels like this is not a real woman. It feels like this is some guy. This is like a girl from the Transformers movies. You know, like I'm not. This is. She feels very dated. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm just not into it. I'm not into it.
Doesn't even have the sauce of like Megan Fox, like, you know, popping the hood. You know, she's like from one of the later Transformers
Because they're like
movies.
clearly too woke to like try and give her any real sex appeal, but that kind of makes it weirder that she is trying to so hard to seduce Buck. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. She's like, you Ubered here, right? Like, maybe we should Uber home together. And Buck's like, oh, you know, I'm the other way. If he hadn't kissed her back, this would be such a funny scene of just him like slowly trying to reject the aggressive advances of this woman he's not very into. But yeah, he's like, I'm the other way. She's like, you don't even know where I live. And he's like, yeah, it's just, you know, if we Uber home, like, I don't think that's a very good idea. And Lucy's like, I just like watching you squirm. And then, you know, there's some awkward back and forth, and then she kisses him, and he kind of kisses her back. And you're like, what is happening here? Like, what hell dimension have I entered into in this episode of 911?
Have you ever seen two actors with less chemistry than these two? The only ones
Honestly,
that come to
that's a big
mind
part of it too.
are
Okay,
Oliver
that's the
Stark
elephant in
and
the
Lou
room.
Ferrigno Jr.
Well, yes. Okay, yes. I have seen two, and it was Buck and Tommy. But yeah, that's kind of the other elephant in the room, is like, these are both hot people, but they seem deeply mismatched.
Yeah.
Something's not clicking here. They just seem like they're from two different kind of... Again, the way I said, like, I feel like Lucy would not be someone I would hang out with. I feel like she's not really someone Buck would hang out with. She kind of feels like she's from a different show. She feels like she's from a CBS show. And by that, I mean the conservative coding of her look and backstory.
Blue Bloods core. Like,
kiss,
it's very, I agree. I would not hang out with her. I would not get a drink with her. I would probably, like, if she attempted to make conversation, I would smile and like nod. I would give like a 1 or 2 word answer.
Nice person, despite everything I've said in this episode that may point to the contrary. I would give her a chance.
Tim Minear, if you're listening, we're very nice people.
We're very nice. Also,
respect...
did everybody see my really funny bit I did on our Twitter account on April Fool's? It was really funny, and I feel like not enough people noticed it.
It was so good. Okay, it was so... I was like getting fucking...
I had to mix
blood on your hands.
I didn't have any fake blood at home. I didn't have any fake blood, so I had to mix my own out of gouache paint, water, and Worcestershire sauce. That was the secret ingredient because it wasn't really getting dark or viscous enough. And honestly, it looked really real. Like, it was dripping on my floor, and it looked totally real.
I was concerned. And like, who did you get your roommate to take the picture or something?
No, I set up my tripod. I wasn't about to ask my roommates to participate in this. It was so weird. So that was genius. Everyone tune into next week for the Dick Van Dyke cast. Yes.
JK, he has risen. But in the meantime, Lucy just fucking, you know, tongues Buck, and Buck is like, let me just kiss her back, you know? And then Hen gets him the fuck out of there. He is. Okay, the following scene takes place in the Uber home. Hen called, and Buck is so fucked up that he's like, I should add a stop. And then Hen's like, dude, I literally called the Uber. Sit down before you fucking
acting
vomit.
Like super drunk, but he is clearly drunk enough to, not even recall that he didn't call the Uber. But he's kind of telling Hen about what happened. And he's like, I actually kissed her back. Should I tell Taylor? And Hen's like, yes, you need to be honest. But then she's like,
no, cheating is good.
Cheater that she is, she's like,
it's very in line with
you
with
shouldn't
Hen's character.
tell her. You shouldn't tell her because it'll just make her upset for no reason. Like, if you don't intend to do it again, it'll make her upset for no reason. I think this is bad advice, and she can see that it's bad advice because she's like, you know, unless you want to kiss her again, which I don't think that's really the problem. I think it's more that it's clearly on his mind and bothering him, and that's why he needs to tell Taylor. Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, it's gonna poison, you know, whatever interaction they have next.
And it does.
But Buck, and it does, and indeed it did. But there is a very funny line here. First of all, Buck looks like he's gonna barf. Second of all, he when he's explaining what he did to reciprocate, he says, I kissed her back, and then I told her I had a girlfriend, and I ran away.
Do we think he ran full speed? Because I think he did.
The imagery of that is so funny because we've seen Buck run full speed.
Yeah,
we know what it looks like. We know what it looks like. It's like on the level, like in my brain of just being very funny of like, you know, and then I backflipped out of the way or whatever.
He probably ran so fast. He probably dropped that margarita and it shattered all over the floor.
Yeah,
and that's where it
honestly
belonged,
no
it
loss.
Bad. Yeah,
it looked like swill. But
now it's time for a cute scene with Eddie and Christopher. Because I guess
the setup of this scene is kind of crazy. The setup of this scene is crazy to me, just like starkly visually, because Chris, you know, he walks out into the kitchen in the middle of the night, and there's just Eddie sitting there at the kitchen table with like like one light on, and he looks like Jason Isaacs, not to mention White Lotus season 3 2 times in one episode, but he looks like Jason Isaacs in the White Lotus when he's about to kill his entire family and then himself. That's what it looks like to me. He looks like on the verge of like murder suicide.
He's got like high school play level makeup on him, where not only have they like hollowed out underneath his eyes, but they've done like contouring on his cheekbones, which I think is really funny because like what's the excuse for that? Like he just looks like he's supposed to be a zombie in a school play. But anyway, he was like,
auditioning for Arsenic and Old Lace,
He's like, sorry, I did I wake you up? I can't sleep. I think I'm still on my firefighter schedule. And Christopher's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And he says, Eddie, Dad, Eddie, I think you miss being a firefighter. And Eddie's like, yeah, maybe I do. Maybe you're right. But, I took this job for you. Like, Christopher's like, why did you quit? And he's like, you told me you didn't like me being a firefighter. You wanted me to stop. And Christopher's like, I never said that. And Eddie's like, you said it was scary for you. Chris is like, it is sometimes, but like you're brave and I can be brave. I do think it's weird to me that this implies that they didn't have like a more of a conversation about like, so like, would you like me to stop doing my job as a firefighter? Or like, what is this really? Because this makes it sound like they did not have that conversation. It sounds like Eddie just heard Christopher say, you could be dead next year, and then immediately like handed in his papers at work or whatever, which is a very Eddie thing to do. He does this, right? We've talked about this.
Is that not in character for him?
It
know what I mean?
It is, but it's once again, you're like, Eddie, darling, you're so stupid. You're so stupid. You got to talk to people when things are happening to you.
How many of Eddie's plot points, how many of his dramatic character beats can be boiled down to, Eddie, you fucking oaf. Eddie, you absolute loon of a man.
Like 2 words with the person you thought you were trying to like save in this situation, you would have made the right choice. So yeah, basically he's like, oh, okay, you actually didn't want me to quit my job? Well, never mind then. I guess I'll try and get my job back. Mm-hmm. Classic Eddie. Love this for him.
Love this for him. And then we go to this like, okay, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac of like just an 8-minute stretch of scene where Athena rolls up to this like
I'm sorry, this
homeowners association conflict.
Feels so out of place in this episode.
There's this like junkyard dog of a man with all of his shit on his lawn, and his neighbors are getting surly about it. They're getting notions. And Athena's like, why am I here? This has nothing to do with me. And then the neighborhood junk guy is like, I called you because this is my property. And they start threatening each other. It's a whole thing. And then Athena's like, bro, I can't even. Let me go talk to your neighbors who just so happen to be the people who were involved in the fucking high-speed, bomb threat.
Yeah, literally, this is such a weirdly contrived scenario. Yes, she goes across the street because she's seen the speed couple, and they're moving, and she's like, you're moving? And they're like, well, yeah, we don't feel safe in our home anymore. Like, this guy, he knew where we lived, he knew our kids' names, he's still out there, we'd feel safer someplace else. And throughout this conversation, we hear that the lady like made up with her mother-in-law, so that's nice. And we get through the conversation that basically it was the junk guy. It was the junk guy. The girl let slip that she and her husband filed like a motion with the city or something to get this guy in court about his fucked up lawn. And now that this car bomb thing happened, they decided to just get rid of that. They don't care anymore. They're a bigger fish to fry, so they dropped the court thing. And Athena's like, well, that kind of makes it sound like the junk guy did this so that would happen. Again,
you get this
just a really contrived
zoom
scene.
shot of like Athena like taking off her sunglasses and delivering a one-liner. And I'm like, that's why Angela does this show.
Yes.
That's why Angela enjoys doing this show, is because she gets moments like that where she can just like have fun in like a low stakes environment as an actor who gets to be like the top billed star. Like, good for her. Good for her. We are so lucky to have her on this stupid show.
Yeah, it probably feels awesome to get to just remove your sunglasses and be like, and I let him get away or whatever.
And so, she like tries.
And she
goes
title drops.
Like,
she says she takes off the glasses like he was right outside your house looking in. The episode is called Outside Looking In.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, he was waving through a window.
He was waving through a window. It's true.
And this guy, his name is Trash Can Kurt, apparently. So that's funny. And Athena goes to, open up his door and whatnot. He's like, Trash Can Kurt, get out here. You tried to blow up your neighbors, whatever. And she, goes in. The dude is
like a lamer,
in
much
the house.
lamer retread of that thing in season 1. It might have been in the episode Stuck.
It was in the episode Trapped.
Yes,
Thank you.
Stuck was season 2. It might have been in the Trapped episode where we've got those hoarder guys in their hoarder home. It feels like and there are like booby traps. It feels like a much lamer, kind of more mean-spirited version of that. Because this hoarder guy is a deeply evil, deranged guy who wants to bomb people's cars.
He's not just an deeply evil, deranged guy. He's like dressed and styled he looks like Corey Feldman in his worst years. You know what I mean? He looks like he's like going to film the music video for Ascension Millennium. And yes, it does give season 1 booby traps. The thing reminds me of a better thing that we also didn't like that much.
There are no booby traps here, and there's no humanity to the depiction of the guy in the house, so it's kind of worse.
Not only is there no humanity, but the way that he goes around the house stalking Athena while she has her gun drawn, and he has a baseball bat. It was reminding me of Buffalo Bill in the third act of Silence of the Lambs.
It's just
it's directed by someone who has no nuance or of filmmaking.
It's the cheapest shorthand to be this guy's a scary, antisocial, violent person.
So Athena, she gets him. She gets him good.
She gets him, whatever.
And
she
that's
knocks a
that
big pile
on
of
Trash
stuff
Can
onto
Kurt.
him.
Presumably
again,
he goes to prison and hopefully, I guess, takes a shower while he's there.
At least she didn't shoot him before asking questions. At least there's that.
Like that pig, Clarice Starling. Yeah.
I was
We're coming
more
for
talking about
Clarice
Athena's
now.
record of bad policing. But basically, like I said, it's a very contrived sequence because it's what do you mean? Not only did she just happen to roll up to this situation where the guy who turns out to have done it is actively making a scene, and the people from earlier happen to be outside so she can see them and go over there, and they happen to drop in conversation this very convenient thing about oh yeah, I guess we also tried to sue this guy and he was really angry at us and then we dropped it after our car got bombed. It's so kind of stupid to me. Again, this scene really didn't need to be in this episode. But I guess they
there's a word
understandably
for it.
Felt like they needed to explain who and why, who was behind this car bomb and why. But whatever.
There's a word for it, and the word is lazy. And so because they were being lazy in constructing this, I feel like I can be lazy and not really spend any more time on it. So let's move on to Eddie trying to fuck Bobby in his home, kind of.
Now, this is an iconic scene, okay? I was about to say Bob Goodman, more like Bob Badman, but this scene does redeem him a little bit. This is some classic evil Eddie. Evil, catty, bitchy Eddie who wants to cause destruction everywhere. Oh, also crazy Eddie. Classic crazy. I love Eddie when he's crazy and I love him when he's evil. So take that, people who accuse me of being an Eddie hater. I like him when he's at his worst. So Eddie...
Because then he has a compelling character.
Yeah. Eddie comes into Bobby's house and he's looking like absolute shit, looking like he's about to die. He comes in and he goes... Hey, Bobby, I've got my request to transfer back to the 118. And he's so into this. And Bobby understandably is okay. So you only transferred a few months ago. And we had this conversation about whether you were really sure. And you seemed like you had your reasons. So what changed? And Eddie's I talked to my kid. And he was I actually didn't want you to quit your job. And you should go back. So I'm back. Can I have my job, please? And once again, I think on the one hand, I do think Bobby is being a little unfair in this scene. And on the other hand, it is true. And it is this greater flaw we're talking about with Eddie's character. Eddie does just not think about these things. He just sort of goes oh, I've jumped to this conclusion about someone in my life, so I'm going to take this drastic action. Oh, they told me they didn't want me to do that. I guess I'll completely reverse course. Yeah, you would... In a grander sense, it's maybe you should figure out what's actually what do you want and why do you feel bad right now? The only thing that I
Okay.
feel like makes it seem like Bobby's being unfair is that for all we know at this point, it kind of seems like Eddie's only doing so badly because he's not been doing his firefighting. Like, it seems like he just really doesn't like his new job. And like, you know, we could say it's implied that there's more to it than that, but the show has not really communicated that.
Yeah.
So it does kind of just seem like, well, come on, Bobby, if you just give him his job back, he'll stop looking like that.
Well, it's not like Eddie's giving like a work-related grievance, though. I mean, like it's speaking like from like a professional perspective. Like what Eddie's been doing here is like it's not like getting back together with someone after you were like we should take a break. You know, like this is a job, this is a professional working environment, and he requested a formal transfer, and now he's trying to reverse course because it was a short-sighted decision, and he doesn't like living with the consequences of that.
And also,
because he got in over his head.
I mean, Bobby says here that presumably off screen, Eddie said that he needed some time too. Like he was also struggling. We didn't. I don't think we saw that.
No.
But from our perspective, it's like Eddie had this very external reason to change course in his job, which was his kid telling him he was uncomfortable with the risks he was taking on the job. And now that very external reason has said, oh no, that's not what I actually meant. And so naturally Eddie's like, oh, I guess I'll reverse this decision. So yes, it does come off kind of rash and weird that he like, I don't know, is taking it so lightly that he thinks he can just go back and forth like this. But yeah, I guess there's just a little disconnect of like what the show has been portraying this conflict as being about. I touched on this last week. Like, I wish we could have gotten a little more build up or at least more hints as to like what is actually going on with Eddie. And if I remember correctly, the payoff is kind of just like military trauma, which I think is really lame because that's like not the part of Eddie's life that we've actually seen on screen. I wish they'd done more.
Well, it does
with,
give
like,
us another iconic scene.
It does. But you know, I wish they'd built up
dead.
I wish they'd built up more like how Eddie feels about getting shot, how Eddie feels about Shannon dying, whatever might be contributing to this. Because in the end, it feels really unearned to me. And here we are in the midst of it. To me, it doesn't feel like they're giving us enough of like what's going on. I feel like it would have been miserable to watch this at the time because getting this mysterious, you know, signals of like, oh, Eddie's got something going on, but we don't know what. We all would have just assumed it was gay Eddie, right? And I'm sure people did.
Yes.
So, you know, I salute you, buddies who were there at the time. This was like the last season before I started watching live.
Well, you know, that would have required any sort of interiority on Eddie's part, you know, or the part of the writers with his character. And that is a line that they're not willing to cross, as we know. However, I would love to, you know, go deeper and analyze the what went wrong with this. But I simply... Like, Jane, you have to understand this entire scene. I understand you saying that it's an iconic scene for Eddie's character. And, like, I would love to focus on, like, him being a brat and, like, the deeper reasons therein. But I just absolutely cannot get past his performance in this scene specifically.
No, but that's what's so great about
He's
it. You don't
paired with
understand.
Peter Krause. No, I do understand. He's paired with Peter Krause, who is, like, a very, like, mature actor. He has, like, a strong, like, sense of, like his movements and his like, sort of micro expressions as a character actor and whatnot. And then you have Ryan Guzman, who I shit you not, on one line, like the line "I'll be fine" gives like a dead ass Kubrick stare that like made me jump out of my seat.
I literally,
and then
I just giggled
for like
just
his
now because I
entire
was scrubbing through the
tirade.
episode and I saw him do that expression again and do that line read and I laughed again because it's so funny.
It was terrifying. It was terrifying.
No,
I was
hilarious.
Scared
He
and I
says-
was disgusted.
No, it's the
I
way
was
he goes.
disgusted, Jane.
He goes, "I'll be fine." Laugh plus Kubrick stare, and then completely composes himself, goes back to being dead in the face, and goes, "Once I get back to work." Like that's comedy gold. He was born to be a comedian.
I agree with you.
I'm
I
not
agree with
defending
you.
it unironically.
He's meant to be in
like,
the
yeah,
40s.
It's technically bad, but it being bad is what makes it so amazing and funny, and I love it.
That's not even the worst part. The worst part is when he launches
Well,
into
the
his
funniest
tirade and he physically acts out every single word that he
Okay,
says.
I didn't notice that.
Every word is like a new gesture or like a new he acts every single one, like a new facial expression that's like cartoonish in a way that you like very like rarely see on this show, even from him. And so it doesn't look like a man in crisis. It looks like a man auditioning for like a community theater production of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. As Roger Rabbit. It was absurd to me.
I'm watching it without sound now.
I couldn't even listen.
It is pretty funny. I would encourage everyone to rewatch this scene, especially, honestly, sound off. Rewatch all of his sort of micro expressions and, well, they're really not micro, just his expressions.
They're
his
macro, babe.
expressions and his hand movements, and pretend he is auditioning for his community theater production of Who Framed Roger Rabbit as Roger Rabbit, and you will have a good time. And the other important thing to communicate about this scene is after Bobby says no, like, I need you to do some work on yourself before coming back, Eddie goes in for the kill. And he's like, you know what? When they were trying to fire you, I had your back. You have 100-something bodies on you, and you're trying to tell me that you're trying to judge me and tell me I'm not fit to work? And he walks out of there. He says, "Go to hell,
I didn't even remember that he said that."
That's the
I remember that he said
about
that.
the scene, bro. People are talking about this all the time. It's so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy that he said that to Bobby. That there's a moment on this show. Like, this is what brought it back for me, because everything else was so, like, weird and strange and weird. And then Eddie just goes in for the kill, and it's like, finally, some good fucking drama on my show. It's kind of like when Chimney punched Buck, where it's one of those moments that just gets so much more serious than you usually see on the show, that it's like, yes, like, I'm back in it. This is like, we got stakes again.
Okay, but the thing is with that, you know, that's a scene between two competent actors. I would have loved to see this scene between two competent, well-directed actors. I would have loved to see this scene like played straight. I've never seen an actor with so little interiority in his performance. It's literally all in his body. It's literally all like just like on screen.
You know what?
There is no internal world or life for this character in this scene.
So after that, Buck is at home with Taylor, and she's on her laptop, smiling to herself, being so happy. He comes over, he's like, hey,
she's on AO3.
I want to be done with this. I'm sorry.
She's on AO3.
Yes, she's literally, we should gift that. It's not even that we're like going over time or anything. I'm just like done with this fucking episode. So I'm going to go over this very briefly. So he like goes over, he's like, we need to talk. It's serious. He really makes it sound like he's about to admit to her that he cheated on her, or that he wants to break up or whatever, but then he can't bring himself to do it. And he's like, will you move in with me? Classic Buck. See, this pisses this. It's like this episode is trying to rage bait me. I'm sorry. This episode has rage baited me so hard. Like every turn, I'm like, oh, why would he do that? Oh, why would I have to see that?
Move past it. Just move past it, babe. We're almost done.
Yeah, so then he goes back to work, and he's like, Hen, I choked up, and I asked her to move in with me. And we hear that Taylor was surprised,
and
but then
like,
she
what?
said yes.
Mm-hmm. Hen's
It's like,
you're crazy.
whatever. Basically,
you're a crazy
Buck's
boy.
reasoning is just that Taylor looked like so ready to be hurt by what he was about to say that he just felt bad, and he decided to hurt her more in the long run by not telling her the truth.
Her womanly emotions couldn't handle it, you know? Ugh. Her womanly emotions just were too,
more like Buck's
were too soft and
couldn't
fragile.
handle it, because Buck couldn't handle, you know, owning up to his own actions and dealing with his relationship.
All he does is destabilize every good thing he's got going for him in his life. That's literally his MO. That's all he does. He's a very self-destructive boy, because the thing that he craves more than anything is Eddie's hole. Anyways, Bobby's like having like an all-hands-on-deck meeting. He's got an all-hands-on-deck meeting. And Bobby is like, oh, we're going to be burning Eddie's effigy in the parking lot. Also, this is Jonah. You know him.
You will no longer be allowed to say Eddie's name in this firehouse.
This is Jonah. He's a permanent fixture, and so is Lucy Donato. Clap if you care. Clap if you like
they
her.
They do this very goofy end to the episode where, first of all, they're playing Changes by David Bowie. Shout out to Shrek 2, the most famous use of that song. And at the very end, it's really funny, like the theatricality with which they've staged this. They have Jonah already up there in the station, But I guess for Lucy, Bobby knew that like he wanted her to make an entrance, which kind of call back to
she's like the
opening
quince
ball.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the quince girl. She likes to make an entrance with her little balloons.
So only when they're like, hey, who's going to be replacing Eddie, are they like, changes. And Lucy like runs up the stairs like, hey guys, I've been waiting in the wings to make my entrance. That was my cue. And you just kind of get this shot on Buck like, oh, brother. It's like something so weird
This guy
and corny
stinks.
about it. Yeah.
And then the episode's over. Then it
weird.
ends.
You guys, I don't even know.
It ends on that note.
I don't know that this episode is like bad. I mean, I think it was cathartic to talk about how that scene with Athena, like figuring out the bomber guy, was genuinely like badly written. And I think Lucy is a bad character, bad casting, etc. But there were parts of it that were, I mean, you did not get down with the Eddie being evil scene, but I liked it for the camp, and I wouldn't expect you to understand that. You know, some people have taste and some people don't. But I also liked some of the calls. I mean, I didn't like having to see that guy's bones coming through his knees. So it's, and I found the
setup
speed
was
thing
fun
kind of boring.
with the quinceanera and the flyaway girl.
The quinceanera was fun.
That was kind of fun.
I almost would have preferred just she gets
her flying away.
Yeah, like wouldn't that have kind of been a more fun call? Who cares about like hang glider man? Especially
because she's like, she can be vlogging like the whole time or whatever. She can be on
cute.
Instagram Live or TikTok Live or something like that. That would be fun. But whatever, it's fine. This episode was like, it didn't hit for me. But it was watchable, I guess. I mean, there were some parts that were genuinely unwatchable, viscerally.
I found it, as 911 episodes go, this was one of the harder ones for me to watch. But again, I do concede that I went into it with kind of a bad attitude. But
I think we can blame it all on Kristen Rydell's self-inserts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's the real villain, is Kristen Rydell's self-inserts.
Harpy Kristen Rydell clearly ruined this episode because all her writing is Wattpad style, just putting her self-insert women into the show. Why can't the show just be about my boys?
The feminist cabal is coming for my fucking, 911. My fucking 911 on Fox, and then
Literally,
ABC. The feminist cabal is taking it over.
There's something
we need
about
911 gate.
There's something about the like flagrant dishonesty and honestly like misinformation patterns of the 911 fandom's Kristen Rydell hate that like riles me up in a way that not a lot of things in the fandom rile me up. Like I really can't stand it. I had to make another Kristen Rydell defense post recently because she wrote the most recent episode and it was a banger, and everybody admits it's a banger, but for some reason we can never give Kristen Rydell credit for that. You only can get mad at her when she writes an episode that, has things in it you don't like, or when she was showrunner for a season you don't like that much, even if she didn't write that many episodes in it. It's like, God forbid we give her props for writing a good episode. Or admit that most of her episodes are good.
That's because she's the final boss of Bad 911. She's the final boss of Bad 911 and Nobody. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't try to pin Bobby's death on her. I'm surprised that one stayed pretty much firmly where it belonged.
She and Tim Minear, I think she co-wrote one of the Bobby death episodes, and she and Tim Minear wrote like the immediate aftermath episode that people hated, even though I thought it was kind of fine. Like I thought I still kind of stand by.
I forgot about that.
I think the choice, like the way they did the death was bad, but I thought that episode as like the aftermath episode, like in isolation, was not bad. Everybody interpreted this Athena thing in it as being like like making fun of fans, which I thought was a really bad faith interpretation of what that part of the story was doing. It was clearly about Athena's journey. And kind of use whatever. I don't even want to get into
like they're the new Moftis. We're not going to do that right now. All we'll say is thank you guys for listening to this episode, this thrilling, spicy episode of the First Risk Podcast. We are having a very normal one. We are in very normal moods.
Sorry, it was kind of a
we
hateful
have very
episode
normal
of the podcast,
opinions.
but that's why you guys listen to us. It's Tim Minear gave that interview saying that he likes the buddy system because you can tell they're fans of the show, and so he won't go on there and hear his name cursed. First of all, shout out to the buddy system. No hate to them, but full hate to Tim Minear because I think the more loving practice as fans is to be critical. The implication that because we're critical of everything that we can't be fans of the show, he doesn't get it. And he never will.
No, he
And
doesn't
never
get
did.
it. Like, part of like the fun of like being a fan of like a network TV show like this is like hating it. You know what I mean?
If
like
we
that's
loved it all
part
the
of
time,
the
we would
fun.
not be real fans. This is what I'm always saying
Like,
about Eddie. If I were, this blind sycophant like the rest of you, no offense, no, the people who are mad at me, not you, the people listening to this.
Never
I
you.
would not be a true Eddie fan. I think the more loving practice is to recognize the flaws in his writing. But
Yeah.
I basically, Kristen Wright, I'll come on the pod. I want to talk to you.
Come on the
I want you to
pod,
know that I'm in your
please.
corner.
We'll make a safe space for you, and we'll just shower you with love and affection, and it'll be great. Now, I just wanted to say to Kristen, if you're listening, if you liked this episode and you want to support us further, follow us on social media at First First Podcast, spelled how it sounds. And if you want to support us even further than that, give us all your fucking money at Patreon. We just put out
We just watched some
bonus
Angela
episode
Bassett movies, you guys. Kristen, maybe you'll like it.
with our
maybe
friend
you're a
Kyla.
fan.
Shout out to Kyla, love you, girl. And so tune into that. Thanks for listening. If you want to have a safe space to hate on this show, our comments are always open.
So true.
And have a wonderful, blessed night, everybody. He is risen.
Except for that one person who wrote that review about Kristen Rydell. I think that person deserves to have the thing that happened to the guy's legs at the beginning of this episode happen to their legs.